I have perfected Dredge on Steam by collecting all 40 achievements. This includes catching all 138 species of fish, finding all 5 relics, completing every side quest, and a few more we'll touch on in a bit later. Welcome to my full review. Dredge is an indie single-player fishing game developed by Black Salt Games and published by Team 17. You may find the game on any platform of your choosing, for a price of course. Starting the game off with the settings, it is incredibly simple and visually gorgeous. This is how setting pages should be, straight to the point and clean. I love it. You'll notice there are not many graphical options. That's because the game doesn't need them with its low poly aesthetics. It should run perfectly on almost anything. The game itself feels great on base controls without any change, but of course the option is there for those who need it. A few helpful options: you can change the unit system, clock style, and color shown for text. Not insanely important, however there if you need them. The game has only 2 difficulties. You have normal, which is the base experience, and passive, for those who are scared of monsters and random events. My entire experience was played on normal, as that is how the game was intended to be played. If you're uncomfortable with the fishing mechanics, there's also an option to disable them. The gameplay of Dredge is quite simple. Time moves as you move. You con your boat around fairly open waters, day and night, in search of relics and fish to reel in with a reaction test minigame. You press the button on green to reel the fish in quicker. If you miss your reel, the time is reset. If you don't reel at all, you'll get it eventually. It is extremely forgiving, but the minigame will also change depending on what fish you're trying to catch. Dredging even has its own variation of it. Your cargo space is also extremely limited, even with upgrades later on. This is because all the fish come in different shapes and sizes. Your equipment takes extra slots as well. You'll need to learn inventory management if you wish to sell big or go home. The fishing mechanics are done incredibly well. Something about trying my hardest not to fail a single reel kept me hooked throughout the entire completion. The most fun I've had with a fishing game in quite a while. I also picked up a perfect time to play because in the middle of my playthrough they had a major free update adding even more fish and features to the game. I loved every second of it. Now, there are dangers in the game. You'll need to be wary of hitting rocks or anything else in the water, as that will damage your hull, which can break your motors, reels, lights, and even lose your catch. Your fish will rot over time if not given away or sold. Nighttime and having no rest will lower your sanity, making you go insane, seeing things that aren't there, only to have them attack you for real. Eventually you will need to explore the dangerous night. However, Dredge is a great way of letting you face your fears on your own terms. Moving into the world and audio section, Dredge is a completely open world laid out into 5 different sections: The Morrow, Stellar Basin, Gale Cliff, Twisted Strand, and Devil's Spine. Each zone is visually unique with its own little story attached to it. A lot of the world is spread out across multiple islands and respects exploration. I heavily recommend circling every island you visit, as you never know what you may find. Early game, the world feels incredibly large as your vessel moves at turtle speed, and the impending night is a scary thought. As you progress, unlocking abilities and upgrading your vessel, eventually you'll be zooming across the open waters, making the world your oyster. You have full freedom of being able to progress and do anything at your own pace. There's no pressure. However, it can become stressful at night. It's always great to know each playthrough will be unique to the player regardless of sharing the end goal. Let's talk audio. The entire atmospheric and relaxing original soundtrack was composed by the award-winning David Mason. There's not one time in the entire game where I felt the music or general audio didn't fit the atmosphere. It's almost perfect. I say almost because there were a few times I was so immersed and focused in the world, a song would randomly kick on extremely loud and scare the piss out of me. Good thing I'm on a boat with easy cleanup and no judgment. If you're an ASMR enjoyer, you could honestly play the entire game without the calming piano soundtrack and still be fully immersed into the world, whether it be the waves your vessel creates, the reeling lines, or your engine about to explode. The audio is insanely good and I have nothing negative to say about it. Hey, if you don't want story spoilers, skip this section now. You have been warned. The story of Dredge starts off with a fisherman, presumably me, taking up a job offer to be an angler somewhere at sea. However, we crash into a rock by a lighthouse. We are then greeted and saved by the mayor of the Greater Maros, who gives us a vessel, teaches us how to fish, and then puts us in debt to pay for it, alongside helping his town. It appears we have made it to our destination. You will quickly pick up everything isn't as it seems. There's something very off-putting about this place and the people in it. You'll begin to notice strange phenomena, especially at night, where you'll have strange encounters such as ghost ships, suddenly appearing rocks, hostile creatures, and the feeling of always being watched. While sailing around the open waters, you'll begin to find and pick up messages in a bottle. Yeah, which are diary entries written by a newlywed wife known as JJ, as she recounts her life with her husband. This is where the lore deepens, taking a twisted turn. The husband's vessel eventually gets named after her during a ritual ceremony where you learn her name is Julie. Later, she then witnessed him dredging up a mysterious casket from the sea. He opened it, releasing some ungodly power, awakening a greater creature in the depths. It destroyed their boat, killing his wife and stranding him somewhere at sea. You will eventually fish up a unique aberration and hand it over to the fishmonger in town, only to find out it had a relic deep inside him. They'll then meet a man called the Collector, who will direct us to his mansion on a random secluded island to talk. He will then task us with exploring different islands around the world in hopes of recovering the remaining lost relics. In doing so, he will creepily read his Book of the Deep and grant us powers or abilities we can use on our remaining expeditions. This is now your main storyline, so feel free to go on your own way to do all the side stories, quests, upgrades, and so forth, which all ties into the deeper story in some twisted way. Now, once you obtain all the remaining relics, you've made it to the final phase where you are given a choice. You can hand them over to the Collector, or withhold them. The game lets you know it won't save past this point, which sounds scary. However, it allows you to continue right where you left off, allowing you to complete what you missed instead of replaying the entire game. A beautiful feature, I may add. If you hand over the relics, the Collector reveals he is Julie's husband, who recovered the Book of the Deep from the casket he once fished up, and discovered a ritual that could resurrect her. He had gathered all the relics, which were personal items of hers, as they were required for it. He then gets on our vessel and takes us to the exact spot Julie drowned, and performs the ritual by throwing all of the relics overboard. The ritual is successful, resurrecting Julie, but also awakening a massive beast, which destroys Greater Morrow and possibly the entire world. Now, if you withhold the relics from him, the Collector will be in shock, and you'll find out he is actually a figment of your own imagination. He is your own repressed memories and guilt over Julie's death. You are now heading out to sea to the same spot you killed your wife to throw the book back into the ocean, which results in you being swallowed by a massive beast. Which is the good ending? You tell me. The story is slowly uncovered as you play through the game, and there are a lot of hints and secrets on where it was going if you play close attention. However, there are a lot of questions that will be unanswered or make you question what they actually mean. This allows you to assume and think deeply about everything you've done throughout the game, and come up with your own conclusion on what is actually going on. I absolutely love how even after obtaining both endings, I still did do research, only to find out there's not one true answer to the story. Everyone has their own opinion or speculation on what certain aspects and story elements could mean, but the main premise is obvious. I've never played a game like this, and I'm beyond glad I did. Now for the achievements. I will not review a game on this channel unless all of them are completed. It took me exactly 15 hours and 11 minutes to obtain every single one. If you plan on doing the same, a lot of the achievements are quite simple. I'm not going to be showing them all. However, the main ones you'll get by just playing through normally would be completing the intro quest, catching, spotting, and selling fish, filling your cargo, finding and handling over every relic, and upgrading your hull to the max. There are a lot of smaller achievements you can do after completion, such as using mixed bait, completing every side quest, solving all the shrines, and researching everything. I'm going to be giving the hardest achievement award to Aberration Attractor. There is an achievement to catch every species of fish, however this achievement is to catch every aberration of those fish, which are completely random catches. If you're unlucky like I am, you will get an ability later on that guarantees an aberration from the pool closest to you. Very helpful. Positives of the game are as follows: easy to run, and on all platforms. It's insanely cheap compared to countless other titles. Unique fishing game mechanics and well thought out progression systems. Cozy and engaging gameplay with unlimited potential for DLC or a sequel. Beautiful visuals and easy to immerse yourself into the world. It's short, you can fully complete it in 15 hours, around 9 for a casual playthrough. This can also be a negative depending how you view time. As for the negatives, the low poly cartoony graphic style might not be for everybody. It's niche, you'll most likely have to go outside your comfort zone if you don't enjoy fishing games, and the story can be confusing and hard to follow, as there is no solid line as to why. I think it's obvious, but I heavily recommend this game. It's a perfect little title that anyone can get into with ease. It appeals to the completionists and casuals alike. If you like atmospheric horror with a deep undercurrent, just go ahead and buy it. That concludes my Dredge review. Thank you for watching if you made it this far. This is my first attempt at a full completion review without having any idea on how to do one. I struggled hard finding a format I deemed worthy, so hopefully this one worked out. Let me know all your thoughts down below, and if I missed anything. You can watch my full unedited playthrough in the description below. Subscribe so you never miss a video, and until next time, take care.